going on, guys? This is your boy Luis, and as always, thanks for tuning in to another episode. Today is Sunday. If you guys watched the previous video, it was Saturday, and we were working out some issues, some kinks that I was doing on the Supra. Here, let me get some better lighting for you guys. But yeah, we're working out some kinks on the Supra. If you guys remember, there was an issue that I had with the wastegate. Diaphragm was pretty much pinched between the top hat and the bottom of the wastegate. We got tile diaphragm. We got that all situated. I'm not gonna lie, it took me forever to try to get the wastegate back on. And as you guys can see, yes, I have an open dump right now because I need to get a dump tube going down straight to the bottom fabricated, and that's another thing to do. But important news, I'm kind of waiting for my friend Cody to come by. He's gonna help me to kind of set this thing up, get it dialed in, set up the cam and crank sensors. All the rest of the stuff has been already checked. I went to go get 5 gallons of 91 octane this morning, regular pump gas, to throw it in there, just to kind of, he's a little bit more of a whiz when it comes to the computer, so he's gonna help me get the base map kind of, you know, maybe dialed in a little bit, just so I could kind of go around the block, check for any leaks and stuff like that. I bled the brakes, I got my wheels back on. I have it jacked up right now, but basically got a battery charging. The couple of things that we got to do is we got to set timing. So I set a mark down there on the crank pulley, make sure it was top dead center, and kind of marked it off just for better visibility. But yeah, guys, other than that, fingers crossed. It's been about 3 years since this thing last ran. I'm gonna check the oil level right now, make sure everything's good, and just waiting on my buddy, and hopefully we'll begin to check everything out, and hopefully, if everything goes good, she'll start for the first time in 3 years with the built head. Remember, because we found that head with the 272 cams, built head. The bottom end was already built, brand new, fresh head gasket, new turbo, new fuel system, new cam and crank sensors. So let's go, let's get this done. Fingers crossed. Alright guys, so I just came across something that I've been asked a lot online and on social media and stuff. So I'm kind of gonna, I'm going through the process right now, so I'm kind of gonna answer that question. Some of you guys asked me what type of turbo manifold I run, and this is basically the CX Racing manifold, turbo manifold. And I know there's a lot of eBay ones out there that kind of used the same jig to kind of make their own. And when I originally ordered this turbo manifold, I had a trouble because my dipstick was in the way of one of the runners, so it did not work. So I kind of reached out to them, and they had told me that that was the old jig that they used. So this is actually the revised CX Racing, or eBay manifold, I guess you could say. So the runner doesn't run directly over the dipstick tube down there. As you can see, I got a clear path straight to the bottom right there. And also, some of you guys were asking what dipstick I'm using, and this is the OEM dipstick, and I basically just had it rotated clockwise. I'll show you guys right now. It was basically kind of sitting like this. Normally it runs up, so I kind of just turned it a little bit, and I did a little bit of bending, and now it sits like that. So it always sat like that. I had this on the previous setup, so it worked. Only thing I did is basically the old seal was kind of all crunchy, so I want to go get some appropriate little O-rings and putting a new one on and basically installing that. The only thing was that this was kind of flimsy on there because I didn't have anywhere to hard mount this, so I'm probably gonna think of a way to kind of hard mount this there so it's not like jiggling around on top. So I'm gonna go ahead and install this and try to figure out a way so this thing doesn't move. Alright guys, so I made this little makeshift bracket out of some material that I had left from I don't know what. Throw on some little wrinkled black just to give us a little nice look. So the idea is that I'm gonna put this right there and bolt it down so that'll be hard mounted. And yeah, let's get it done. The man of the hour over here. If I've gone this far, it's because of the help of this genius over here. Genius to me, that is, because I got so far, or I got this far. So he brought some of his components that I did not have. Timing gun, he has a battery charger in the back going. So we got the timing mark down there marked off, top dead center. Got some water in here for now, gonna flush that out later. So we're gonna figure out some of the sensors. Fuel pressure sensor still not dialed in because I didn't have any fuel in there. So we're gonna move on to the next step and hopefully get to calibrating the cam and crank sensors. Alright, so there you have that little bracket that I made. And as you guys can see, this is the revised turbo manifold so it doesn't interfere with the dipstick. Alright, so we got live power going on. We're gonna begin to assess any leaks that we might potentially have, like fuel leaks. Alright, well, you guys say that I never record any of the issues that I go through, so we just encountered a few already. Right now we're trying to fix a fuel pressure issue where there's pressure up here at the pump but there's no pressure at the rail. So since we already saw that there was pressure at the pump but beyond the fuel filter there isn't, we think the fuel filter, I might have put it on backwards, so my dumb butt has to, well, we have to go ahead and try to flip that or see if it's oriented the right way, because right now we have no fuel pressure up here. So yep. Alright, so I had some two lines switched pretty much in the back. We took care of that, make sure there was flow through it. So now we're gonna check for any fuel leaks, make sure there's pressure, and we're good. Alright, so we're just doing initial cranking, see if it gets any oil pressure, and try to set up triggers or settings for the cam and crank. So take one. You let me know when. Dang it.
Yeah, bro, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Yeah, bro, no problems.
Alright, so starter's not initiating, so gotta figure that out. We just went through like 20 minutes trying to figure out why the starter wasn't clicking once I was, turning on the ignition. This whole time, starter, wiring, all that stuff was perfectly fine. I just forgot to push in the freaking clutch. So Cody started laughing at me. Yeah, so test number 2 once again. Get you set up here. Alright, so after that dummy mistake, take 2 on the starting.
Absolutely fucking nothing.
On what?
Both.
Really? No signal from the cam and crank yet. We're gonna take 3. Alright guys, so just some little information. We've been kind of cranking the car. So far, a lot of things seem good, but on the ECU side, the cam and crank, Cody is not receiving any type of signal at all, like 0, not one little bleep, nothing. So we're trying to get to the bottom of it before he takes off. Unfortunately, I can't do a lot of this stuff on my own because I don't have some of this stuff, the equipment that he has. So we're gonna just give it one last little review, check the pickup resistors that I wired in, because that's the only thing that we could think of. There was some wires that were flipped backwards that we kind of corrected, that we did depend and we switched over, but other than that, yeah, trying to figure out the bottom or that issue. So far it cranks good though, but yeah, no cam and crank signals. Cleaned up a lot of things that were not necessarily wrong but just needed to be fixed. There was a couple of issues with the cam and crank not being recognized by the ECU. We believe we have found the problem or the issue with that, so I guess you could say this is attempt number 2 to try to get the engine to fully communicate with the computer. So hopefully we're gonna fix a couple of the wiring things that I did wrong. So hopefully we get that sorted out and we get signal from the cam and crank, because other than that we cannot continue and pretty much get the engine started. So we're gonna get that sorted out, hopefully, fingers crossed, and we're gonna go from there. But this is alright guys, so what we got here, we got the scope.
We got the scope reading of the crank trigger. We have a 36 tooth with one missing. So the gaps you see is your missing tooth.
So he's looking up here,
so
top graph.
Go ahead and count them. We have 35 counts until our missing tooth. So that's correct. Again, 35 counts until our missing. So we don't have any big gaps, we don't have any missing tooth. We're looking good on crank.
So initially the crank signal, we were not getting anything, so no communication to the computer. We're kind of stumped because we're still not getting any cam. Last thing that that we could maybe suspect is that the actual sensor might be bad, but because we already checked gaps, we double checked wiring, so all the signals on the plugs on both sides are good. Alright, so I always forget stuff. Cody happened to mention a new sensor, and sure enough I have one laying around, so we're gonna double check that once again. So hopefully, if it is the sensor, that one should be good, because I never messed with that one. But if that doesn't get any readings, then we are kind of stuck with the cam signal. So we're gonna get that switched out really quick just to see if we get any signal, and then moved on to the next step. Alright guys, so we got the new sensor put on there. So one good thing, and then some things to fix. So you guys could see the previous graph, we saw that there was only crank signal, or yep, and then so now with the new sensor we have finally got signal, but there's a bit of a issue in this graph right here. So you guys can see here, there's a double count right there. So that being said, based on what Cody says, we gotta either fix the air gap or
change the edge setting of the sensor of how it's reading. So we're gonna try with the edge setting first, and maybe tighten up gap afterwards. Sneak up on it.
Yep. So good news, we got signal, but we gotta kind of get this in order. So one step forward. Alright guys, so just based on initial kind of cranking, We're off. We're super close. It's off maybe by what you say, 1 degree. It's about off 1 degree timing, so we're gonna get that a lot closer. And it might fire right now, right?
Yeah.
It might turn on right now, or it will turn on right now, and we're gonna get that closer. And it's gonna be the first time I'm listening to it in 3 years. All right, I'm excited. My hands are honestly shaking. So let's do this. You guys heard that, right? I accidentally didn't record my reaction inside the car because I was too excited. I pushed the button twice and it didn't record, but... Alright guys, so you guys saw it. She's officially running. But a lot of things, or some things still got to get dialed in. As far as I know, the cam signal is still off a little bit, so that's causing some issues with it on the software side. Based on what Cody tells me, the coils, you had them set to what?
Wasted spark.
To a wasted spark.
So it was ignoring the cam sensor.
Yeah, so it was ignoring the cam sensor, so that's the reason why we got it to run the way it was. But as far as I know, she sounds healthy. We had, I think it was 100
pounds of oil.
100 pounds of oil pressure on pretty much idle, so that's good to go. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. So yeah, we gotta try to figure out what the heck is going on with the cam signal, as far as like if it needs different spacing or something going up with the pickup resistor, or yeah, so we got to get that figured out. But we are definitely one step closer. At least I could say that after 3 years I have officially heard this thing run, so that's very, very, very exciting. We could have tackled a little bit more, but unfortunately Cody has to go ahead and take off, and that'll be until next time. Appreciate this guy right here. I wouldn't have been able to do all this without him, so shout out Cody. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say, guys. This is very exciting. I got to hear this puppy run after so long. We're gonna write down some notes over there. That's what he's doing. So hopefully next session that we do, we get things dialed in better and we get it running a lot better. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we could take her out maybe and start setting up, kind of dial in a little bit the pump gas map for her to be running. So yeah guys,